I want to teach you exactly how you can start incorporating independent contractors into your business. How can you hire an independent contractor quickly, easily, and what are your tax and legal obligations to make sure that you are doing so legally? First off, and most importantly, you need to make sure that the job that you are looking to fill and the duties that you want them to perform are in fact classified as an independent contractor and not an employee. This is a big deal, especially in the state of California, where our Employment Development Department, the EDD, is very strict on following up with businesses that paid independent contractors. The EDD is known for calling your independent contractors, interviewing them with questions over the phone to determine whether or not they were properly classified by you as an independent contractor. You do not want to get this wrong because there are additional fees and penalties that can be backlogged from missed wages if this was overlooked or misjudged by you. So how do we determine exactly if someone is an independent contractor or an employee? A worker is considered an employee and not an independent contractor unless the hiring entity satisfies all three of the following conditions. Number one, the worker is free from the control and direction of the hiring entity in connection with the performance of the work, both under the contract for the performance of the work. This means that if you are hiring an independent contractor, you have absolutely no control over their work in essentially any way. You are hiring them to do a specific job, task, or duty with their own judgment on skills, how to complete that job, and when to complete it. Number two, the worker performs work that is outside of the usual course of the hiring entity's business. This means that you cannot hire someone as an independent contractor to perform duties that are within your regular business scope. And number three, the worker is customarily engaged in an independently established trade, occupation, or business of the same nature as that involved in the work performed. This means that the contractor has their own established business, either as an LLC, a sole proprietor, or they work for another company. They have an established business in that specific trade. If your work requirements do not meet those standards, then that worker is going to be classified as an employee, and you must hire them as an employee and put them on payroll with all the requirements needed there. If you have established that you are in fact hiring an independent contractor, then you can go ahead and proceed. You are first going to need to establish a contract or work for hire agreement. This is best done by either number one, consulting with an attorney and having them create a contract or work for hire agreement for you with all of your customizations inputted already, or number two, purchasing a template for an independent contractor contract or work for hire agreement. You're going to search for these online, and when you find one that seems like it fits your industry, then you can go ahead and purchase it. But then make sure that you send that template over to an attorney for them to review and make any modifications. Doing this method where you start with a template is going to automatically be a little bit cheaper because you are not having that attorney create the agreement from scratch. They're simply going to be paid for their time in reviewing and modifying a pre-existing document. The next step is going to be to collect Form W-9 from your independent contractor. IRS Form W-9 is used to collect the worker's personal information and confirm their tax ID number. It is best to issue and collect a W-9 form from a worker before you pay them to ensure that you have all the information needed and that form is secured before they actually start the work. However, if you did not do this, then make sure that you collect that W-9 from them before you issue that 1099. The W-9 is going to include information such as their social security number or EIN, their personal address, and a few other things. So make sure that this form is kept confidential within you and your business and the IRS and the individual only. Next, you're going to need to decide on a payment method to pay your independent contractor. This can include a variety of different money transfer platforms such as PayPal, Venmo, or other payment processors. You can also pay that independent contractor with a bank transfer or with a check from your business checking account. Now, it's really important to note that things can get a little complicated tax-wise if you choose to use what is known as a third-party settlement organization, which is just a payment processor such as Venmo or PayPal. Payment processors like these have their own additional tax requirements, and if you send $600 or more in total payments using these types of payment processors, they are going to be required to send out their own tax form called a 1099-K to that independent contractor also. Now, you can still use these payment processors, but it does make it a little more complicated for your independent contractors in terms of taxes, because then they are going to be receiving a 1099 NEC from you for non-employee compensation, as well as a 1099-K from that payment processor for that transaction that was paid to them. So it does make it a little more complicated for them, needing to reconcile receiving two different tax forms for that same transaction amount. But my favorite way to pay independent contractors is by using a service called Gusto. Gusto is used for payroll services, and it is incredibly handy for paying your independent contractors with a direct bank transfer. Gusto also helps me to automatically generate the tax forms that I'm going to need for those contractors upon hiring and later on down the line. Next, you will need to create, issue, and file Form 1099 NEC. If you use a payroll software for paying your independent contractors, such as my personal favorite, which is Gusto, the link is included in the description, those softwares have the option to automatically generate, issue, and file these forms with the IRS as well as with that non-employee. If you do not use a payroll software, don't worry, you can quickly and easily generate these using an online tool. My favorite is tax1099.com. I'm not sponsored by them. They are just very fast, easy, and very low cost. 1099s will be issued to individuals, partnerships, limited liability companies, or estates. In most cases, corporations do not receive 1099s, but there are a few exceptions. The IRS gives the following examples of who should receive 1099s. Anyone who provided professional services like accountants, engineers, or architects, non-employee salespersons earning commissions, independent contractors who get paid for services, goods, or travel, or received benefits, professionals who received referral or fee-splitting fees, non-employee entertainers for services related to your business, and certain people who got golden parachute payments after a merger or acquisition. Most payments to corporations are not included on 1099 NECs except for the following. Now, if you are someone that needs to create and issue a 1099 tax form, click on this video popping up, which is going to walk you through the process of creating those 1099s.